Alright, hold on. I'm gonna redo that intro now, now that I'm actually remembering to record. So, we're gonna go through and talk about every character, and if they want their E1, S1, or both. I'm gonna be honest, the both tier is there for one specific character in my mind right now, and you're gonna find out who it is very quickly. But, yeah, we're gonna go through every single character and talk about all this. Mainly helpful for if you want to know how to invest for free-to-play and all that. And, yeah. So now we start with Acheron. And yeah, light cone. It's literally light cone and it's not close. Acheron's light cone is such a powerful increase for her, mainly because it gives you an additional debuff whenever you attack, which is super impactful for her. So if you use her skill, you're going to get 2 stacks of Crimson Knot or whatever it is, or Slash Dream, I mean. And then you get a raw crit damage increase and you just get a lot of extra damage. It is actually, there's not really a comparable alternative to what Acheron's Light Cone does for her. And as a result of that, it puts it not only in the higher echelons of light cones, but also it is the best for her by a country mile, especially compared to her E1, which it gives her crit rate. What the fuck? Alright, so yeah. Sigless Acheron is not really real, and I say that as somebody who did not have Acheron with her Sig for a very long time, so I do in fact know the pain. Next up is Aglaya, and I'm gonna be honest, there's not a normal Aglaya player on the face of planet Earth. You want both. You really want both. Now here's the thing, people are gonna tell you, oh, you should just get E1, and then you just have to build her very differently. No. No. And then here's the thing. You can just get her S1, and her S1 makes her a lot easier to build. Not even a lot easier, but easier to build. And she's really fun that way, but at the same time, you're gonna struggle a little bit without her ideal teammates. You're gonna need Sunday regardless, but then if you don't even have a Huoho or a Robin on your account, just S1 is not going to do it. Just S1's not going to make it work. So, I'm going to be honest, having both is really, really helpful, and it automatically puts her into the higher tier of characters if you can get it. E1 and S1 in combination on Aglaya with her team, incredible combination that can really, really carry you. Alright, next up is Anexa. Should I make a new tier called Neither? I wasn't expecting this. I didn't think about this. Wait a minute. I didn't think about this. Hold on. I legitimately didn't think about this. Whoops. Alright. Neither something else. So, okay. So here's the thing. Anexa has a pretty good S1. Anexa has a good S1. He has a decent E1. I think his E1 is a little underrated because it's actually pretty decent. But realistically, you want to know the absolute strongest thing for your Anexa? It's Ceredra. It's Ceredra. And that's the thing, is that you can also just do Herdicone. That's a good point. You can just do Herdicone, and you're still gonna benefit. It is actually crazy how Anexa works. You don't really need either of these things. And here's the thing. You're gonna lose some damage. You're gonna lose some strength, all that good stuff. If you just get his optimal team and you leave Anexa at E0, S0, and you invest into his team instead, he's still gonna do amazing is the wonderful thing. So, yeah, good job, Anexa. You goddamn... My lord. I can't believe I had to make a tier entirely for him. Oh, yeah, Archer. We kind of got his light cone for free. To be fair, that's not an everyone thing, obviously. So, yeah, it's pretty easily E1. Because E1 gives you a whole extra shot. E1 is actually super, super nice. For those of you who do not know, E1 basically makes it so that if you fire off, I believe, 3 uses of your skill, you get another 2 skill points back. So you can either save it for your next rotation, or you can just fire again immediately. It's honestly really, really helpful. Helps his rotations a lot. With Sparkle and without. So, honestly, I would definitely look into this. His Light Cone is by no means essential in any way, shape, or form. I would mainly... Like, if you have it, that's great, because it's a nice boost for him specifically, but you can just use the Shop Hunt Cone, and still... You will still be perfectly fine, honestly. Argenti. Can I put a new tier of get someone else? Oh, dude. What? His E1 is... His E1's not good, is it? No. Okay, so, here's what you do. It's a neither / something else. What you do is, the something else is you get Herta. The something else is you get the Herta. That's how you make your Argenti work. That's the real trick, chat. Because, my lord, this man sucks. Please, somebody rework him. Please. Oh my god. Next up is Avin. I actually really like his E1 and his S1. I think his E1 is... Yeah, no, it's actually not that worth it. His E1 is, like, good, because it gives you more shield... Like, I believe it gives you more shields, and it also gives you increased crit damage. So that's pretty helpful. But his S1 also gives you a way easier character to build, and it increases damage as well. So, I'm about to have to add another tier of either works. God damn it. Yeah, I guess I'll just add. Alright, well. Yeah, I think that's fair. E1 can be helpful, and S1 can be helpful. So, Black Swan. Yeah, probably that. E1 is a really nice damage boost for DOT. And S1, I'm gonna be honest, S1 is mainly a luxury because DOT actually has really helpful replacement cones that will still get you a lot of what you need. So really, if you can just get more raw damage, especially with the new Kafka buffs and all that, and alongside Hysilence, more raw damage is going to be way more helpful, in my opinion. Yeah, I think Black Swan is a pretty easy E1. Blade. It's probably E1. Although, I'm going to be honest. Okay, no, actually, I'm going to be honest. Blade is an older character. He doesn't want his S1, but having Mighty Cone is really, really nice for him. And then E1 is just... but E1's a really powerful damage boost. No. Honest... Okay, no. Because of how dedicated Blade players are, and how important it is to have all these extra things to make Blade better, I genuinely think it's both. I think you are throwing if you are playing a Blade without E1 and without a good Light Cone for him. I 100% think you're throwing. Because like, Mighty S1 for him combined with his E1 is actually so good. I 100% think it's like this. Boot Hill. Oh, man. Where's the E2 button? I don't want to put too many characters in both, but I'm going to be so for real. Because Boot Hill is once again an older character, his S1 is really important for him. And also, E1 is a really nice quality of life. E1 is a really nice quality of life. What do the Boot Hill players think? You know, I'm realizing, what do the Boot Hill players in here think? S1 is more important? Yeah, okay, I can see that. I don't think it's as much throwing with Boot Hill and his optimal team compared to Blade in the optimal team if you don't have something, so... Castorus. It's not even fucking close. It's a... You know what? No, actually. You want to know the real answer? Hyacinth. Okay, actually, I do think it's fair to say S1 for her primarily. Not having Hyacinth for Castorus is bad, but honestly, having her Sig is really, really nice. Because then on Hyacinth, for Castorus specifically, you also really want her Sig, and then it's just a spiral. I think if you're just focusing on Castorus specifically, having her Sig is super important. Because it's such a massive HP boost, and it gives you, I believe, an action advance and more damage. Overall, it's just very, very helpful. Next up, Ceridra. E1 is the one that gives defense shred, I believe, right? E1, Yeah, ignore 16% of the target's defense when dealing damage, and then it increases to 20%. Oh, sorry, it additionally, so 36% of target's defense, and regenerate 2 energy. Yeah, her light cone is, I will say, her light cone is still really helpful, because her light cone gives you a skill point back, so that shit is goated for a Nexa. That shit is really, really nice for a Nexa. Overall, though, I would probably say E1 is more helpful, especially if you can get out more ults as a result of Ceridra E1, because Ceridra E1 will also give you a charge, meaning you won't have to skill as often. That's the really important part, so yeah, E1's really nice. I like that a lot. Cypher. Okay, so here's the thing. Cypher Cone is very, very helpful because it gets her to the speed requirement she needs really easily, which is nice. At the same time, however, her E1 increases her damage tally, or it does, it does more. You get more recorded value out of it, and whenever she does a follow-up attack, she gets, like, a 40% attack increase, 80%, I think? Either way, you can build her without Light Cone, and E1 isn't essential. If you are really focusing on the damage aspect of Cypher, I think E1 is solid. And if you just want an easier time building Cypher, and you want, like, reliable additional defense shred, so, like, in the case of an Acheron team or something like that, then S1 is going to be pretty important as well. You can substitute it, but at the same time, if you're building that much speed, you can get to 200 speed easier, which is extremely helpful. Or you can focus even more into her damage stats, which you don't get to do as much if you have E1. I'm going to say either or. It probably really depends on what you plan to use Cypher for. Cyrene, I guess. E1 is kind of jack shit, if we're being honest. Like, E1 really doesn't matter. And then S1. S1 is a speed increase and a pretty decent damage increase overall. I don't think saying both is a valid option, because you really don't need both. Unless you're getting to E2, nothing else about Cyrene matters besides Cyrene, if we're being so for real right now. I could say neither, and it's just like you just invest even more into Mono Rem. That is in fact a choice. But I think we're going to stick with S1, because I think that's a more immediate help than E1 is. Dan Heng Imbibitor Lunae. I just straight up do not remember what Imbibitor Lunae's E1 is. Increases the stackable Righteous Heart count by 4 and earn game 1 extra stack of Righteous Heart for each hit during an attack. Righteous Heart is his talent, which increases your damage. So what is that? So you can get it up to 10 times, so that'd be a 100% damage increase, and you get 1 extra stack for each hit during an attack. So with his, with his fully enhanced basic attack, you have a 7-hit attack. So if you're gaining an extra 1 per hit, you're going to max it out very quickly. I think S1 of Dan Heng Imbibitor Lunae gives him crit stats, and more importantly, it has energy regeneration rate on it, which is huge. Insane. And that is extremely helpful for Dan Heng Imbibitor Lunae, since every time he uses ult, he gets, like, free points to use for his enhanced basic attack. I honestly think that his S1 is just way more important. Realistically, nowadays, if you don't have, like, at least an E6 Dan Heng Imbibitor Lunae, broken character, you're dead, you're done, throw it into the trash. But if you were, you know, maybe he gets buffed, haha, right, Hoyoverse? Right? Yeah, I think realistically it's going to be S1. But again, if you really want to use Dan Heng Imbibitor Lunae, I would really recommend getting E2 especially. Get E2 especially with his light cone if you really want to make him work. Alright, next up, Dan Heng PT. So, Dan Heng PT's E1 gives you a skill point back, and it gives you 18% res pen. His light cone heals you, and I believe increases his attack, and I think it increases damage a little bit. I might be not remembering. I think this is a pretty easy choice for just the raw utility of skill points. I 100% think it is Dan Heng PT's E1. Getting an extra skill point back, huge. And res pen is just always a very nice thing to have in this game. And it's 18%, so it can basically get you through any elemental weakness that you don't already hit. I really like that a lot, honestly. I'm pretty happy with what they did for our boy, Dr. Ratio. His E1 ain't doing it. Where's the divine intervention tier? Actually, you know what? No. You want to know the real answer? Something else. Get Fei Xiao. Get Fei Xiao. That's your real answer. I don't want the neithers here to just be bashing characters, but dude, that's rough. That's really rough. I will say his S1 is really, really important for him, and it's like it really helps him out, and it can't be as replaced. He needs his cone more than other hunt characters need their cones. Like, he really prefers his specifically because he can't just like substitute with Fei Xiao. And if you use Topaz cone, you're losing a little bit of value. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to actually leave him in neither, but I just don't see a world where anything else is more deserving. Evernight. Realistically, if you are using her as like your main DPS, I would say S1 because it's hard to get that much HP value and that extra energy. If you are using her in a Casterus team, you might honestly want E1 because it increases the damage of all your other allies, which is huge. Really, really important. In a perfect world, it's this. I'm gonna say either for the same reason as Cypher, as it may depend on what exactly you want. She always prefers E1. I don't think that's... I just remembered Cyrene exists. I was still thinking about Tribby. Alright, never mind. Never mind. If she's running main DPS, wait a minute. Yeah, you know what? Never mind. Again, I still think this is considering optimal scenarios. If you're not running her with multiple Memo Sprite teammates, you're kind of throwing. You're kind of throwing. And also, yeah, Leia just mentioned it. Remembrance light cones are horrible. Actually, you know what? Nah, fuck it. Get into both. I like Evernight. All right, Fei Xiao. It is actually such a massive difference having her light cone and not having her light cone. It is such a big difference. You want her light cone so badly. And then if you can get her Eidolons, E2. E2 is really nice. E2 is incredible. But overall, you should be emphasizing getting Fei Xiao's light cone. It is such a massive boost for her. And Ratio light cone, Topaz light cone, Sela light cone, all of them do not do a suitable enough job for her specifically. Firefly. So me personally, I am biased because I have E1 Firefly over S1. And I really like what E1 does. So I'm gonna say E1. Because realistically, before getting her light cone, or before getting her like a Phynon cone or anything else, you would get her E2. Like, let's be so for real right now, you would get her E2 before any of that, so I'm 100% gonna say E1. Purely because, like, the effect is nice of not having to use skill points, which in break teams, they are very skill point heavy, so that's huge. And also you get more defense shred, which is always a nice thing. Gets you to that number way easier, especially if you don't get a lot of the other cones or abilities that really help you with your defense shred multiplier. Fu Xuan. Her S1 makes her really comfy to play, and it can make her help in a lot more scenarios if you have that S1. So, out of like her E1's really bad. It just increases crit damage by 30. Like, E1 is not that good compared to Light Cone, which helps her a lot. Like, yeah. And you don't really want both because Fu Xuan is not essential to any team nowadays, so. Fugue. It's not close. Fugue will increase your weakness break efficiency by 50% if you have her E1. Her S1 increases break effect and gives you a bit more damage. That is not worth it compared to E1 Fugue. So yeah, absolutely get E1. Whoa. Once again, E1. Would you like to know what E1 does? It increases your speed by 12%. That is so fucking helpful. And, like, let's be honest, Huohuo doesn't do the best job nowadays. Her healing can be a little unreliable, no matter how good of a build you have on her. I know some person in the comments of whenever I say that is always like, well, my Huohuo heals perfectly fine. I don't give a fuck. It is not as reliable as you think, especially if you go team-by-team basis. So having an E1 with that much utility, to the point where you probably just may not need to be healed as much, very nice. Hyacinth. Okay. So here's the thing. Her best slot is absolutely for Casterus and for other HP scalers, which means her light cone, but her E1 increases her fucking healing, or it increases the amount of HP she gives you by 50%. There is nothing comparable in this game to get you that same level of effect. I'm gonna say S1, but E1 is also so immensely helpful. Like, my lord. I just think S1 is gonna be more helpful for everyone over just, like, a Casterus team. Because Hyacinth's just good overall, so. Hysilens is the same thing as Black Swan. If you can get a DOT character's E1, do it. It is never a bad choice. Very good, E1. Very good. Her S1 is also incredibly powerful, by the way. Her S1 has amazing utility. However, E1 is just such a massive damage boost that it's not even comparable, I feel like. Would really recommend getting E1. Realistically, you could do both. And I think if you do both, like, you get a lot out of it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say both. And I'm going to say both, not because she specifically needs the SIG, but if you're running a team of Kafka, Black Swan, Hysilens, you want her SIG on either Black Swan or herself if you only have one SIG. You want it on the team somewhere because of how much utility it brings. I think having it as both is fair. Although, to be fair, nowadays, now it's just like, if you have Hysilens and Cyrene, that's now the optimal team for DOT. This game pisses me off. Alright, Jade. I think it's E1. I remember her E1 being really, really nice. Because E1 Jade, and then you put Ling Sha there as the driver, it gives her an insane amount of follow-up attacks, which is super, super helpful. Yeah, let's say E1. Realistically, it's neither, and once again, the answer is the Herda. But we're gonna say E1. Jiao Cho. Alright, chat. Something I've never had to really look at in a very long time. What does Jiao Cho E1 do? 40% increased damage to enemies targets afflicted with Ashen Rose. Oh, that's actually really helpful. And applied by 1, so you get more consistent Ashen Rose stacks. I mean, 40% increased damage is really nice. I don't know, his light cone is just like it's an effect hit rate increase, and it increases damage taken as well. It also is good for debuff stacks. It can stack additional debuffs, which is obviously going to be helpful for Acheron. I think I'm going to say S1. I'm going to say S1 purely because ain't nobody using this character outside of Acheron. Having the debuffs is more important. Like, let's be so for real right now. Let's be so for real. His cone is best in slot for Black Swan, and that's hilarious. Like, that is hilarious. Jing Yuan Sunday. Like, his light cone... Okay, so here's the thing. Also, Jing Yuan light cone. Jing Yuan light cone is actually really, really nice for Jing Yuan. I want to get that straight. His light cone's really nice. But also, Sunday. He is a lifeless corpse without Sunday. This is going to stand. Jing Liu. Yeah, no, max HP increase from Mighty Cone, as well as the more damage from it by draining more HP, way more impactful. Mighty Cone is so helpful for every single HP scaler, basically. Yeah, I really like this. Kafka. Hysilens. Like, let's be so for real right now. Ling Sha. It's E1, I guess. Her S1 is okay. It's, like, it increases her break effect a lot, which is super nice. But E1 increases her break efficiency, which, as you can imagine, for, you know, break teams, pretty nice. Especially since she consistently attacks, meaning you're going to be helping break that toughness bar a lot. And then I believe you do additional damage when they're weakness broken as well. So overall, E1, pretty nice. Pretty nice, all things considered. Luocha. a different healer. Okay, realistically, it's S1. Because I don't think his E1 really does anything of value. So, his light cone at least, his light cone increases his healing output a lot. Like, if you ever want to really make sure you're never going to die, well, there you go, use Luochacone. Luochacone is amazing for making sure you are not going to fucking die. That's the best way I can put it. Mighty. I feel like it's S1. Finon. It is S1 and it's not close. Like, holy shit. His S1 is one of the best cones in the fucking game, and specifically for him, it is incredible. Finon, if you have a Finon without his light cone, you are going to see such a major fall off from him. He really, really wants it. Rappa. It's definitely Sig. But also, I'm going to be honest, nowadays, it's once again probably both. But we'll say Sig. E1 is really nice. E1 is really nice, but her light cone is so helpful for what she does. Robin. I think E1. I think it's definitely E1. Because S1, you can kind of replace if you have Bronya Cone. So realistically, it's not a massive loss, even though it does give a lot of extra damage. E1 is just huge for your entire team. I really like E1. Yeah, you know what? We'll say E1 for Robin. Like, what is it? It's a 16% res pen increase, I believe. It's 24%. Oh, 16% is the speed increase. My fault. So 24% res pen increase, and yeah, the regeneration effect is on E2. Ron May. Okay, so I think there are situations where S1 is actually helpful. Like, people always dismiss Ron May S1. Ron May S1 is not bad. It is not bad. And E1, if you're in a break team, is going to be really oversaturated, if we're being honest. Or it's going to be the thing that pushes you up. Because 20% defense shred, like, okay, you know what? Let me actually think. Let me think about where else she's going to get used. I really want to say either, but I feel like E1 is just more helpful in almost every scenario, if not every scenario. So, Saber. Her S1 is so custom built for her, it's crazy. Her E1 is really powerful too, is the crazy thing. Her E1 is probably her best Eidolon from what I'm remembering. Yeah, E1 is like Saber's best value Eidolon in my opinion. But her light cone gives you crit damage, and then based on the amount of energy you use in an attack. Oh, here we go. Yeah, you just get more attack straight up. And it regenerates energy. Yeah, fuck that, man. What the fuck? Realistically, like, if you want a really good Saber, it's both. I think... I really like what S1 does, but E1 is also so powerful. Because you get more core resonance stacks, and you get more damage on her strongest damaging ability. Because, like, the light cone will regenerate energy, but core resonance will also help you get your ultimate back sooner, so it's basically the same thing as regenerating energy. I'm gonna say E1. Sela. Get a different character. Silver Wolf. Well, S1 is actually... What am I even talking about? S1 isn't real, E1. Why did I think about that? My fault. Yeah, her S1 is genuinely so bad. There's no reason to use her S1 in current day. Just get her E1. Sparkle. Can I put her in S1 and say for Sunday Sig? I feel like that counts. Hey, you. Hey. Motherfucker watching the video skipping through. Hey, you see Sparkle? Get Sunday Sig. get Sunday Sig for her. Alright, we'll put her down here. Because neither or are really that important. Sunday. His Sig is just really nice ease of access, and his E1 is helpful, but you're getting the best out of it for like 2 to 3 characters in this entire game. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like that lands him in S1. The Dahlia. Okay, so here's the thing. S1 is nice because of SP regeneration and massive break effect increase. E1 is nice because it makes your entire team be able to attack with the same dance partner multiplier. I want to say E1 I think S1 is really, really good comfort, though. I think S1 is, like, incredible comfort, and it's very powerful for your main DPS. Do I want to put both? You know what? I'm going to say both. Because here's the thing, is that, like, if you have, like, an E0 S0 Fugue, and you just have Ron May E0 S0, I 100% think getting Light Cone and E1 for the Dahlia is way better value than getting anything else for the other two besides, like, Fugue E1. And even then, if you still have Ron May in your team, you're gonna be fine. I would genuinely say getting both is, like, the best choice you can make for a break team right now. Especially since you're gonna be damaging through weakness bars either way. I think both is, like, the best choice you can make right now. Again, for this specific criteria that we're following, obviously. The Herda. Okay, so it's funny, because me and Soul have actually had a argument about this before. Because E1 is technically a bigger damage increase, but the comfort and utility provided by S1 is so incredibly nice across the board, in my opinion. And it's like, a lot of light cones provide just that, comfort. But I think that the Herda specifically gains so much from that fucking light cone, it's not even funny. This is a very particular case of either. You can do only E1 if you are like a very confident player and you understand rotations extremely well, because you're not going to have much room for comfort with just E1. But S1 provides a lot of comfort and a big damage boost either way. So, really, I think it can really, really depend. I will say, nowadays, you deadass want both to do her max damage, but she's still a good enough character that you can do one or the other. Topaz. So, here's the thing. We're going to put S1 for Topaz because her S1 is one of the best things in the game for follow-up teams. Her S1 is so helpful for follow-up teams. But also, yeah, you just probably shouldn't be getting Topaz in modern day. So anyway, hi. My name is Chris. I got Topaz in modern day. Tribby. It's a true damage zone. It increases your damage so much. Yeah, we're done. It doesn't matter. And Yoon Lee. I think her S1 is really nice. The taunt value on it is good. You get more damage. It's overall just very, very nice. And I don't remember her E1 being particularly helpful. I think her E1 was decent. E1. It increases your damage by Intuit / and Intuit Cull and increases the additional damage. Okay, that's actually not too bad from what... Okay, that's actually better than I remember. That's actually better than I remember it being. I'm still going to say S1, though. I think I'm still going to stick on S1 because... Let's go down here. Increases your odds to be attacked, increases your crit damage, and increases your damage from follow-up attacks after using ultimate, which you will always end up with. Like, you're always going to do your follow-up attack after your ultimate if you're playing her correctly. So, yeah, I think this all adds up. I did see the mention of move Firefly to something else because what she needs the most right now is Dahlia. And you know what? That's honestly not uncalled for if we're being for real. She so desperately needs the Dahlia right now, it's not even funny. I think that's absolutely fair. All right, there we go. Pretty solid list, all things considered. All right, well, if you're mad in the YouTube comments, I don't really care, but hey, feel free to leave a comment at least. All right, thanks. That's so funny. Just stay mad. It's basically what I said. All right, well, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.